Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you are. Hi. I'm just going to give you a quick brief video on applying for working for Disney from the UK. I think this might apply to other places as well. Some of the bits of information might do, but this is pretty specific to the UK. So, the one I'm doing is the J1 Cultural Exchange Programme. So that is basically if you're working or if you're studying at university, then you get a chance over the summer to go and work for Disney. The J1 Cultural Exchange Programme is only available to uni students. However, there are other programs available to work out there for a whole year rather than just the 3 months of what I'm doing, which is just for the summer. Okay, in this video I'm hopefully going to give you some tips on what the application process is like, what the interviews are like, and then also the costings, because they are killer. So, step 1. What you'll need to do is apply through a company called Yummy Jobs. They do the recruitment for Disney, and I think they do Universal and other such places abroad. So if you don't want to work for Disney, then they also do other opportunities for you to go and travel and work. The application process is much like any other job that you will do. You'll basically do a long old application which takes forever, but hopefully it will be worthwhile. Okay. So one tip that I'll give you for this stage actually came from a girl who I met in Epcot last year. So that would be the summer of 2015, as it's 16 now. She basically told me not to put too much Disney into it, because at the end of the day you're still going out there to work. It is a job, but obviously you can include some Disney. I included some quotes. I think I had some Hakuna Matata in there, some wishing upon a star, but essentially what you don't want to do is be that guy.
I'm Mickey's #1 fan!
Okay, but yes, the application process is pretty simple. It's just hard to get through because there are thousands and thousands of people that apparently apply. I've applied twice, didn't get through the first time and got through the second time. The reason I didn't get through the first time was, having read my application when I went through to apply the second time, it was dreadful. Spelling mistakes everywhere, pretty much everything you're told not to do on an application, I went ahead and did. Step 2. What you'll get is an acceptance email. Mine happened to come on the 16th of September, so you'll hopefully, if you get all the way through the process, you'll receive quite a lot of emails from both Disney and Yummy Jobs. So the first one that you'll hopefully receive is the acceptance email of your application, which comes on the, well, mine came on the 16th of September. The first interview is with Yummy Jobs. So my interview after the acceptance email was on the 8th of October, so a pretty quick turnaround. The interview itself is in Epping, which is in Essex. So if you're applying from anywhere from Scotland, Ireland or anything like that, then you're going to have to be prepared to travel. I've met people from all of those places and they've had to stay overnight and things like that. So if you're applying from elsewhere, be prepared to travel. Again, it is worthwhile and the office is pretty cool as well as the interview itself is a group interview. So you sit down first of all, watch a presentation on everything that you'll be doing in Disney, and then you'll talk through the costs and everything like that. And then after that you're taken into a group interview. So you're given we were given names. I was in the group called Pocahontas, which is Happy Days. She's my favourite character. And yeah, so you're taken into a group interview, you sit down and then you're basically asked the normal sort of question. Where's your favourite place to have travelled to and why? If you had a messy roommate or someone who you didn't get along with, how would you sort that out? Have you ever been away before? Do you live at university? And how do you deal with sort of confrontational issues? Just your usual sort of interview questions, so don't be too scared. There's also a lot of information online, so if you just Google things like Disney UK interviews or something like that, there's lots of blogs that will give you plenty of help. However, the questions that I thought we were going to be asked weren't actually asked, so just be prepared for anything. The acceptance email from the Yummy Jobs interview came on the 16th of October, so only 8 days after my actual interview. So those 8 days do seem like a very long time, but nothing in compared to the next stage. So what you may find is we've got Facebook groups with loads of people from Disney, so you keep in contact with people that you've met in the interview and also meet loads of other people. Once the interview or once the emails start coming through, then Facebook explodes and you will not experience nerves like it. That is until the next one, which I'll talk you through now. After you've got that acceptance email from Yummy Jobs, you'll then start getting contact from actual Disney, and you'll have to sort of do their process, which is again another sort of quick turnaround time from the acceptance email to the interview. So my acceptance email again came on the 16th of October, and my interview with Disney was on the 10th of November. So a little bit longer, but still pretty quick. So for the interview with Disney, this is at Disney headquarters in London, so a pretty cool experience as it is. You go first of all into one of their home theatres and you sit down and watch another load of Disney presentations. You get some talks from some of the Disney people, and then after that you go on for a one-on-one interview. So this could be later in the day, so you go straight in the morning, watch the Disney presentation, and you might have to leave and then come back later, which is what I had to do. Once you come back, then you sit down for a one-on-one interview. They talk through what sort of what you want to be doing for Disney. So I've gone for a character performer, which I happily got. You could also be doing quick service food and beverage, amongst many other things. So you could work on the rides, you could work in merchandise, so you work in some of the stores. Yeah, the list goes on, so again you can look that up. In the interview you also get asked about more of the same from what we did in the Yummy Jobs interview as well. So you'll be looking at answering questions about what you do if you live with someone who you don't get on with. Have you ever experienced being out in the summer in Florida before? If you haven't, a forewarning: it is hot and humid and it rains, but you're in Disney, so worse things have happened. If you're going for a character performer, you'll be measured, because all the character performer is done on height. So if you want to be things like, if you want to be friends with Captain Hook, Baloo and things like that, then you have to be in their certain height range. Again, have a Google for the certain height ranges of what everything is, because some are more competitive than others. I just happen to be quite tall, so I think that's worked in my advantage. I mean, the Disney interview, my one was pretty quick. I thought it went far too quickly and I did not have high hopes for it. It lasted about 4 minutes, so not long at all. So if yours doesn't last too long, then don't worry. Hopefully you've done well, and apparently it's just that they've gotten to know you really quickly and don't need to ask you any more questions, as they already like what they have seen. Again, if your interview lasts longer than that, some people lasted about 20 minutes, then that's hopefully great. It's just a sit down and a chat and a conversation to get to know you, so hopefully they're really liking your company and love chatting to you. Wait for the Disney acceptance. So my interview was on the 10th of November. I personally didn't find out till the 22nd. There were people who found out even after that. The wait can be unbearable. It could make or break your Christmas, obviously, because that is 3 days before Christmas, and it could have been a rough time. On the Facebook groups, we had people who pretended they'd already heard back at the beginning of December. If you ever want to see Disney people turn, then do that, because it got ugly. Otherwise, yeah, you're just in it together, talking about waiting for that acceptance email, and it just takes a long time. I thought there was going to be a build up and it would come through about 10 o'clock at night, as it did for most people. Mine didn't. I got up in the morning to pee and just thought I'd check my emails, and there it was. So wasn't quite the moment that I expected when I peed, but there we go. All good times. Okay, so I'm going to talk you through costs for working for Disney now. You are told about this at Yummy Jobs before you actually go through to the Disney interview, but I still didn't anticipate how much it was going to cost. So if you have student loans, then say goodbye to them, as you'll be spending it on working in Florida. First cost I'll talk you through is the visa. I've got my visa appointment on Tuesday, so fingers crossed after all this I actually get to go. Visa costs $160, so at the moment that's £115. You've also got a DBS check, and that was £75. Insurance, so you have to go through Disney's insurance, which according to people from last year isn't great, so you'll probably have to actually take out some insurance of your own elsewhere, but it's mandatory to have Disney insurance, which is through Lloyd's, and that is $256.32, and that worked out to be £180 a day. So there's two options for the insurance. You've got one which is slightly cheaper, not much, I think it works out to be about $50 or something, and you've got the other one which is more expensive, and that's the one I went for, so yeah, 180 quid. Then you've also got the fee to go and actually work for Disney. Apparently this includes the house parties that you've got, the first few weeks rent, and that was $354.50, which was £249 at the time when I paid it.
But that's £619.20.
I'm sure I've forgotten some of the fees, because there are more, but I can't remember what they are. And you've also got to include your flights and everything else in that as well.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Otherwise, you will be going out to work for Disney. I'm personally going to fly out on the 5th of June and working for about 2.5 months. And you do pay rent, however that's taken out of your wage packet, so you don't actually get to see that anyway. So that's not too bad. And the rent does vary from apartment to apartment. You've got 4 complexes, and it varies, but not by too much. And that's all on personal preference as to where you stay, because each have pros and cons. I've been quite brutal on everything on in the application process and how much it costs, just so that you're aware before you apply, okay? But all is good. You're working for the mouse. You're working for the company that Walt Disney built. So, and you're in America. No better thing than America. I do love America. So yeah, best of luck if you do apply. Hopefully, if you do, maybe I'll see you out there in the future if I do work again, or if I'm ever holidaying, which is probably likely. Yeah, no harm in trying, so give it your all. I didn't think I'd get through, and yet here I am, going as a character performer. Yeah, good luck. If you have any questions, then ask, and that'll all be good.